welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Global TV News Cycle, live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. President Bola Tinubu has congratulated Nigerian-born professor of pharmaceutical nanoscience and top-flight researcher Ijeoma Uchegbu on her election as president of Wolfson College, one of the 31 colleges of University of Cambridge. Professor Uchegbu, renowned for her innovative work in particle drug delivery, is currently a professor of pharmaceutical nanoscience at University College London. President Tinubu, in a statement by his spokesman, Ajuri Ngelale, on Sunday, celebrated the outstanding accomplishment and commended Professor Uchegbu for being an excellent ambassador for Nigeria and for her relentless efforts to advance the frontiers of pharmaceutical science. The president applauded Professor Uchegbu as epitomizing the ingenuity, brilliance, and hard work that are consistently synonymous with the great Nigerian people, both at home and abroad. A heavy-duty truck carrying bottled water has crashed at Hawan Kibo on the Jos-Abuja highway in a lone accident, leaving scores of motorists and commuters stranded in a gridlock. Peter Longsan, the public education officer of the Platoon Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps, confirmed the development in Jos. Longsan said that the accident occurred at 4 p.m., adding that the tanker fell across the highway, blocking both lanes. Mohammed Suleiman, an eyewitness at the scene of the accident, who was on his way to Abuja from Jos, said the commuters had been stranded there for hours without movement from both sides of the road. However, he noted that hope for the stranded passengers seemed to be in sight as officials of the FRSC were mobilizing to the area to remove the vehicle and ease gridlock. The organized labor in the country will soon come up with a strong position on the suspension of the payment of the wage award to civil servants and has warned the federal and state governments to prepare to increase the minimum wage from the current 30,000 naira monthly stipend. It called on state governors to pay the minimum wage once it is signed into law next year. Already, conversations are being held around the new minimum wage, which is expected to be signed into law soon. The federal government, on its part, has budgeted the sum of 1 trillion naira for minimum wage adjustments, promotions, arrears, and severance benefits for civil servants in its ministries, departments, and agencies. Analysis of the 2024 budget appropriation released by the Budget Office of the Federation revealed. However, state governments have largely remained silent on the issue of a new minimum wage for their workers, even in the face of escalating cost of living nationwide. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has approved 35,000 naira wage award for the state public servants. This was just as he also approved the payment of 50,000 naira, 50%, I beg your pardon, of basic salary as an end-of-year bonus for all political appointees and public servants, employees of local government and local council development areas, Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board, and the Lagos Neighborhood Safety Corps. The approval was contained in a circular obtained and signed by the Lagos State Head of Service, Bode Agoro. The statement further noted that the end-of-year bonus and the wage award, which will be paid alongside December 2023 salary, will be non-taxable. The Kogi State House of Assembly on Saturday re-invited the Ministry of Solid Mineral to appear before it next Tuesday to defend her 2024 budget estimate. Also re-invited to appear before the House is the Director General, Kogi State Solid Mineral Development Agency. The Chairman, House Standing Committee on Solid Minerals, Honorable Omotayo Ishaya, gave the directive at the Assembly complex following the absence of the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry and the Director General of the agency. The committee Vice Chairman Jibril Abu, who is the current lawmaker representing Ajaokuta State constituency, lamented that if Kogi State Governor Yaya Bello can shut down all his engagements to appear before the hallowed chamber to present the state budget, He sees no reason why some heads of MDAs would ignore invitation by various House committees to defend their budget for 2024. The Enugu state government says it will reopen one lane of the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway collapsed bridge for use by December 2024. The State Commissioner for Works, Gerald Otiji, disclosed this while briefing newsmen after the State Executive Council meeting held at the Government House, Enugu. Governor Peter Mba of Enugu State had on November 9th announced that the federal government would commence the reconstruction work on the collapsed bridge. Mba noted that the reconstruction would begin with palliative work on the one lane of the bridge that was standing to ensure it was ready for use within the next 9 days. Speaking, Otiji said the Federal Ministry of Work is reconstructing the Artisan Cattle Market Bridge in collaboration with the Enugu State Ministry of Works. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says on Sunday that a multi-million-naira mansion located at Victoria Garden City, VGC, Lekki area of Lagos, used as clandestine laboratory for the production of methamphetamine by a convicted drug baron, Okenwa Chris Nzewi, has been forfeited to the federal government. The agency said this followed his successful prosecution and conviction in court for drug offences. Spokesman Femi Babafemi says Okenwa was arrested alongside his associate Sonny Okeoka on 30th July 2022 and subsequently arraigned on 4 counts in charge at the Federal Court, Lagos. They both pleaded guilty on 17th July 2023 while they were convicted and sentenced to 4 years and 3 years imprisonment respectively, with an option of fine for 4 million naira and 3 million naira, in addition to community service for 4 and 3 weeks each. His vehicle was equally forfeited to the federal government. At least 200 Nigerians have died from Lassa fever in the first 11 months of 2023, a disease that is preventable with good hygiene and treatable if presented early at hospitals. Over 1,170 confirmed cases of the disease were recorded across the country within that period, indicating a fatality rate of 17% in Africa's largest country in terms of population and economic size. The details of the disease spread by rodents were released on Saturday by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, on its website. In a statement on its website, the NCDC said the data was from January 1st to December 3rd, and the confirmed cases were recorded in 28 states and 114 local government areas across the country. Similarly, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, on Saturday says 13 cases of dengue fever have been confirmed in Sokoto State. In a statement posted on its official website, the Director General of NCDC, Fedayo Adetifa, said the outbreak was detected in November. Adetifa said so far 71 suspected cases and 13 confirmed cases have been reported in 3 local government areas across the state. He said 60 cases were reported from Sokoto South, 3 cases from Wakamo, and 1 case from Dange Shuni. He, however, said no deaths have been recorded from the outbreak, noting that majority of the suspected cases reported fall between the age range of 21 to 40 years. Adetifa said the current risk level of the dengue outbreak is moderate based on a dynamic risk assessment. A fire accident on Saturday night gutted a transmission company of Nigeria's power substation in Maryland, Lagos State. According to a late-night statement released by the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, the fire has been put out. The fire erupted at the Transmission Company of Nigeria power substation at Maryland Junction, Maryland, at about 8 p.m. and has been put out by the crew of the Lupeju Fire Crew of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service. The Director, Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Margaret Adesheye, also stated that no casualties were recorded as an investigation into the cause of the fire and the enumeration of valuables affected is ongoing. The Kano State Deputy Governor, Aminu Gwazo, has vowed to thoroughly investigate the recent fire outbreak caused by some miscreants at the Gwale Local Government Secretariat. The incident resulted in the loss of millions of naira in property damage. Gwazo, who doubles as the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, pledged during a visit to the affected site on Saturday evening to assess the extent of the damage. He assured the public that the government would leave no stone unturned in determining the cause and bringing those responsible to justice. He urged the people of Gwale to remain calm and law-abiding during the investigation. According to the Director of Personnel for Local Government, Awa Dambata, the fire incident occurred on Wednesday, December 13, 2023. It engulfed 3 departments. And you're watching Global TV News Cycle live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on StarTimes, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using at Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When the news cycle returns, EFCC boss seeks legislation against unexplained wealth. The news continues shortly with details of this and more stories right after this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, has called for legislation against unexplained wealth as a way of checking the criminal activities of treasury looters in the country. EFCC spokesperson Dele Oyewale, in a statement at a 2-day international law conference organized by Cristobal University, Mowe, Ogun State. The theme of the conference, which was Unexplained Wealth in the Global South, examining the asset recovery and return trajectory, Olukoyede said several countries, including the United Kingdom, Australia, Mauritius, Kenya, Zimbabwe, and Trinidad and Tobago, had embraced the unexplained wealth orders, UWOs, since it came into force in 2018. The EFCC boss, who was represented at the conference by the Abuja Zonal Commander of the EFCC, ACE-1, Adebayo Adeniyi, emphasized that treasury looters would have little cover if the issue of unexplained wealth was tackled more seriously across. Dr. Betta Edu, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, has revealed that Nigeria is currently offering shelter and protection to roughly 100,000 refugees and more than 8.5 million internally displaced persons. Speaking at the Global Refugees Forum in Palexpo, Geneva, Switzerland, where global migration, refugee concerns, and lasting solutions were discussed, Betta Edu presented Nigeria's position on the matter, outlining Nigeria's efforts to include refugees, IDPs, returnees, and their host communities in national development plans. The federal government has pledged to enhance protection and ensure access to durable solutions and actively engage in regional efforts addressing displacement causes. The commitments made by Nigerians in Nigeria, include financial, material, and technical support, affirming the nation's dedication to collaborating for long-term solutions benefiting millions of displaced people worldwide. The Ondo State government has denied that the acting governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, froze the accounts of the local government. The reaction came after some officials of the local council said that a memo from Ayedatiwa had informed them of the freezing of the account. Ayedatiwa became acting governor again on Wednesday after Governor Rotimi Akeredolu proceeded on another medical leave. There were apprehensions after the unavoidable transfer of power, given the rift between Ayedatiwa and people close to Akeredolu. The purported freezing of the accounts of all the local governments in Ondo State by the state acting governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, is therefore a serious anti-democratic, unconstitutional and political suicidal move, which was probably born out of ill or improper legal advice, according to Emodamari in a statement. But the State Commissioner for Information, Bamidele Ademola Olatejo, on Saturday described the reported freezing of the account as false. On the foreign scene, the ECOWAS court mandated the Republic of Senegal to reform Article 109 of its organic law governing the Commission for the compensation of persons unreasonably detained on remand. According to a statement issued by the Communications Division of the Community Court, the judgment orders Senegal to align a portion of the law with its international commitment, particularly that under the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. In the judgment delivered by Justice Sengu Mohamed Koroma, Judge Rapporteur, the court declared a violation of those rights to a fair trial, the right to be tried within a reasonable time under Article 7, subsection 1, subsection D of the ACHPR. It also declared a violation of the principle of equality of citizens before the law under Article 4 of the ACHPR. A Vatican court has sentenced Italian Cardinal Angelo Becciu, a former advisor to Pope Francis, to 5.5 years in jail for financial crimes. Becciu was the most senior Vatican official ever to face such charges and once seen as a papal contender himself. The trial centered on a London property deal that ended in huge losses for the Catholic Church. He was on trial with 9 other defendants. All were convicted on some counts and found not guilty on others. The trial, which exposed infighting and intrigue in the highest Vatican ranks, had been going on for 2.5 years. He strongly denied charges including embezzlement and abuse of office. Cardinal Becciu's lawyer says his client was innocent and will lodge an appeal. The Israeli army says it is investigating the killing of 3 hostages, which is said had been mistakenly identified as a threat by soldiers, an incident that sparked protest in Tel Aviv. The military says Yotam Haim, Alon Shamriz, and Samael Talalaka, all in their 20s, were shot during operations in Gaza City. They were among about 250 people taken hostage during Hamas's October 7 attack in Israel, which killed around 1,140 people, mostly civilians, according to Israeli figures. The military said later it had started reviewing the incident and the immediate lessons from the event have been learned and passed on to all troops on the ground. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described their deaths as unbearable tragedy. On the business desk, the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, has announced the disbursement of more than 1.7 billion naira to customers affected by the revocation of licenses of microfinance banks and 4 primary mortgage banks. Speaking at the 2023 NDIC Editors Forum in Lagos, Bello Hassan, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of NDIC, revealed that the payments were made following the revocation of licenses by the Central Bank of Nigeria earlier this year, affecting 183 institutions comprising microfinance banks and primary mortgage banks. He highlighted that insured deposits represents the initial claim paid to depositors by NDIC in the event of bank's license revocation and set limits of 200,000 and 500,000 naira per depositor bank for the MFB and PMB subsectors, respectively. The leadership of Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, and National Union for Food, Beverages, Tobacco Employees have raised alarm over looming mass sack across the country. This is just as they called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to intensify his efforts to protect the jobs of remaining workers left in the country to forestall rising cases of insecurity across the country. citing the over 20,000 workers that already lost jobs within few weeks as reason for their call. Both NECA and the NUFBTE warned that the efforts to bring in fresh investors by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would be a marriage, as would-be investors would be discouraged as old ones are closing down. In his own submission, the Director General of NECA, Adewale Smart Oyerinde, reminded federal government that multitude of hungry men and women could be potential instrument against peace. Oyerinde called on governments to reduce the heavy burden that is working against real sector for surviving and new ones to come in the land. In sports, NBA legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has been taken to hospital after breaking his hip in a fall at a concert on Friday. The 76-year-old, who is the only six-time most valuable player in league history, is set to have surgery in a Los Angeles hospital. Abdul-Jabbar played in the NBA from 1969 to 1989, winning 6 championships, 5 with the Los Angeles Lakers. He held the NBA career regular season scoring record of 38,387 points until LeBron James broke it in February. The 19-time All-Star, who stands at 7 feet 2 inches, still holds the records for regular season field goals and 15,837, and career minutes played 57,446. AC Milan technical director Geoffrey Moncada says the Rossoneri is impressed with the recent performance of winger Samuel Chukwueze for the club in their last 2 UEFA Champions League games. Chukwueze joined Milan from Villarreal in the summer, but has struggled to translate last season's form for Milan, firing blanks in 11 matches, 6 of which he started. But despite his slow start in Italy, the 24-year-old is gradually finding his feet at the club, scoring in consecutive Champions League against Newcastle United and Borussia Dortmund. According to Sempre Milan, Moncada expressed satisfaction for the Nigerian harping on his work rate skill set. Victor Osimhen was decisive to get Napoli back to winning ways in the Serie A with a towering header and a spectacular assist for Visca Kvaratskhelia against Cagliari on Saturday. The Partenopes secured their place in the Champions League a round of 16, but had lost back-to-back Serie A games, so needed a boost. Napoli wore black armbands, and there was a minute silence for former captain and director Antonio Giuliano, who died this week at the age of 80. Kvaratskhelia crosses from the left was just beyond Victor Osimhen at the back post. Then the Nigerian tested Simon Scoffet at the near post. Eduardo Goldanigo got himself twice in the way of Osimhen, finishes inside the box, while Cagliari threatened with a Tommaso Orgello strike from the edge of the area that was deflected just wide off Giovanni Di Lorenzo. And that's it on Global TV News Cycle, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. I am Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.